The Science of Getting Rich. How to apply Wallace D. Wattles' timeless wealth formula in your life. Brought to you by Hyptoria. Imagine for a moment that wealth creation isn't a matter of luck, inheritance, or even exceptional talent. What if I told you that getting rich follows exact scientific principles, as predictable as mixing hydrogen and oxygen to create water? This isn't wishful thinking or fantasy. It's a profound truth that has been hidden in plain sight for over a century. This book will teach you something revolutionary. There exists a precise formula for creating wealth that works regardless of your background, education, or current circumstances. The principles you're about to discover have been tested by countless individuals who transformed their financial reality by applying these exact methods. But here's what makes this approach different from every other wealth-building system you've encountered. It doesn't require you to take anything away from others. In fact, when you apply these principles correctly, everyone around you becomes richer too. This isn't about competition, it's about creation. The journey you're beginning will challenge everything you believe about money, success, and your own potential. You'll discover that poverty isn't a natural condition, it's simply the result of not understanding how wealth actually works. Once you grasp these fundamental laws, financial struggle becomes as unnecessary as trying to light a room with candles when electricity is available. For too long, people have accepted the myth that wealth is a matter of chance or circumstance. They watch some people prosper while others struggle, and they assume it's because of factors beyond anyone's control. Education, connections, timing, or pure luck seem to determine who succeeds and who doesn't. But this assumption is completely wrong. The reality is that wealth creation operates according to immutable laws, just like every other natural phenomenon. When you drop an object, it falls to the ground because of gravity. When you plant a seed in fertile soil and provide water and sunlight, it grows because of biological laws. And when you apply certain principles to wealth creation, you become rich because of economic and psychological laws that are just as reliable. Every person who has ever built lasting wealth has done so by following the same basic principles, whether they realized it or not. These principles don't discriminate based on age, gender, race, education level, or starting circumstances. They work for anyone who applies them correctly and consistently. 1. Why you deserve to be rich. Let me start by destroying a dangerous myth that keeps millions of people trapped in financial mediocrity. The idea that wanting wealth is somehow selfish or wrong. This couldn't be further from the truth. Your desire for riches isn't a character flaw. It's actually evidence of your higher spiritual nature trying to express itself. Every human being has an inherent right to abundance. Not just enough to survive, but enough to thrive completely. You have the right to beautiful surroundings, excellent food, comfortable shelter, meaningful work, intellectual stimulation, and the ability to help others. These aren't luxuries, they're necessities for a fully developed human life. Think about it this way. You cannot reach your full potential while struggling with money. A brilliant mind consumed with paying bills cannot focus on creating great art, advancing science, or serving humanity. A person worried about rent cannot give their best to their family or community. Poverty limits your ability to express your true nature and contribute your unique gifts to the world. Consider the great inventors, artists, and leaders throughout history. Very few of their most significant contributions came during periods of financial stress. When Abraham Lincoln was struggling to make ends meet as a young lawyer, he couldn't focus on the political and philosophical questions that would later make him one of history's greatest presidents. Financial security provided the foundation that allowed their genius to flourish. Here's a perspective that might shock you. Choosing to remain poor when you could become rich is actually the selfish choice. When you're financially struggling, you're constantly taking from others, their time, their resources, their emotional energy. You become a drain on society rather than a contributor. But when you're wealthy, you become a source of opportunity for others. You create jobs, fund innovations, support causes, and inspire others to believe in their own potential. Rich people who use their wealth wisely become fountains of blessing for everyone around them. To understand why wealth is necessary, you need to see yourself as a three-dimensional being, with three distinct but interconnected aspects. Your physical nature requires good food, clean water, appropriate shelter, medical care, and physical comfort. Trying to live nobly while your body is uncomfortable or unhealthy is like trying to paint a masterpiece with broken brushes. Your mental nature needs books, education, travel, cultural experiences, and intellectual stimulation. A mind starved of growth opportunities cannot reach its potential or contribute meaningfully to human progress. The greatest thinkers in history all had access to extensive libraries, stimulating conversations with other brilliant minds, and the freedom to pursue their interests without worrying about basic survival. Your spiritual nature demands the ability to love, serve, and create. But love finds its most natural expression in giving, and you cannot give what you don't have. A person with nothing to offer struggles to express their spiritual nature fully. When you have abundant resources, you can help others in ways that go far beyond what's possible when you're barely surviving yourself. Many people resist wealth because they've been taught that money is somehow evil or that rich people are inherently bad. This is complete nonsense, and it's one of the most destructive beliefs you can hold. Money is simply a tool, neutral in itself. What matters is how it's acquired and used. The world desperately needs good people to become wealthy. Every dollar that flows to someone with integrity and wisdom is a dollar that can be used to make life better for everyone. When you become rich through the creative methods you'll learn about in this book, you're actually performing a service to humanity. Here's something most people never consider. You have a moral obligation to develop your potential fully. You were born with unique talents, insights, and abilities that the world needs. These gifts weren't given to you randomly. They're part of a larger design, a cosmic plan in which every person has a specific role to play and specific contributions to make. But if you're constantly worried about money, you can't focus on developing and sharing these gifts. You're too busy surviving to thrive. Your unique talents remain undeveloped, and the world is poorer because of it. There's an important distinction to understand here. Wanting wealth so you can live fully and serve others powerfully is healthy and natural. Greed, wanting wealth just to hoard it or to feel superior to others, is destructive and ultimately self-defeating. The desire for riches that we're talking about is really a desire for more life. It's the same force that makes plants grow toward the sun and animals seek better territories. It's built into the very fabric of existence, and fighting it is like fighting gravity, exhausting and ultimately pointless. Before you can build lasting wealth, you must establish the right mental foundation. This means accepting that you deserve abundance, not because you're better than others, but because abundance is every person's birthright. You must understand that wealth creation helps others when done correctly. You need to recognize wealth as a tool for good, and you must see poverty as unnecessary suffering. Once you truly understand these principles, you'll find that pursuing wealth becomes not just acceptable, but essential. You'll realize that getting rich isn't about taking from others. It's about becoming the fullest version of yourself and contributing your maximum value to the world. 2. The universal laws of wealth creation. Chew. What I'm about to share with you will revolutionize how you think about money forever. Wealth creation isn't random or mysterious. It follows exact laws that are as reliable as the law of gravity. Once you understand and apply these laws, becoming rich becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Throughout history, humans have observed that some people consistently create wealth while others remain poor, even when they have similar talents, work equally hard, and face similar circumstances. For centuries, this seemed like a mystery. But careful observation reveals a pattern so clear and consistent that we must call it a scientific law. The law of wealth creation states this: riches come to those who do things in a certain way, regardless of their background, talents, or circumstances. When someone learns and applies this certain way, they get rich. When they don't apply it, they remain poor, no matter how hard they work or how talented they are. Consider the evidence all around you. If environment were the key factor in wealth creation, then everyone in wealthy neighborhoods would be rich, and everyone in poor areas would be poor. But this isn't what we observe. In every city, you'll find rich and poor people living side by side, often in the same neighborhood, sometimes even in the same family. If talent were the determining factor, then all the most talented people would be wealthy. But we see brilliant artists struggling financially, while less talented people build fortunes. We see highly educated people working for less educated entrepreneurs. If hard work alone created wealth, then all the hardest workers would be rich. But we observe people working multiple jobs just to survive, while others create massive wealth working fewer hours. So what separates those who get rich from those who don't? They think and act differently. They approach money, opportunities, and life itself in a fundamentally different way. Rich thinking people operate on what we call the creative plane. They focus on bringing new value into existence. Poor thinking people operate on the competitive plane. They focus on fighting for existing resources. Understanding these two modes of thinking is crucial to your success. Competitive thinking asks, how can I get what others have? Creative thinking asks, how can I create what I want? Competitive thinking sees limited opportunities and fights for them. Creative thinking sees unlimited possibilities and works to manifest them. The reason this system works so reliably is that it aligns you with the fundamental forces of the universe. Everything in nature is constantly growing, expanding, and evolving. When you align your thinking with this natural tendency toward expansion, you tap into enormous power. All wealth creation is built on three foundational principles. First, there is an infinite supply of raw material for creating wealth. This raw material isn't just physical resources. It's the basic creative energy of the universe itself. This energy can be shaped into any form through the power of thought and action. Second, you can impress your thoughts onto this creative energy. Your mind isn't separate from the universe. It's part of it. When you think clearly and persistently about what you want to create, you set forces in motion that work to bring it about. Third, you must combine clear thinking with appropriate action. Thought without action is just fantasy. Action without clear thinking is just busy work. But when you combine focused thought with purposeful action, you become a powerful creative force. Most people fail to get rich, not because they lack ability, but because they violate these principles without realizing it. They think in competitive rather than creative terms. They focus on what they don't want instead of what they do want. They take action without clear mental direction. They think clearly but fail to take consistent action. They give up before the principles have time to work. Here's what makes this approach so powerful. When you apply these principles correctly, success becomes mathematically certain. Just as 2 plus 2 always equals 4, clear creative thinking plus purposeful action always equals wealth. This isn't a matter of chance or luck. It's cause and effect. From this moment forward, you need to see wealth creation differently. It's not about luck, connections, or extraordinary talent. It's about understanding and applying specific principles that anyone can learn. You don't need to wait for perfect conditions or opportunities. You can begin applying these principles immediately, wherever you are, with whatever resources you currently have. 3. Breaking free from scarcity thinking. The biggest obstacle standing between you and wealth isn't lack of money, education, or opportunity. It's a particular way of thinking that keeps millions of people trapped in financial struggle. I call this scarcity thinking, and it's so pervasive that most people don't even realize they're doing it. Scarcity thinking is based on the false belief that there's a limited amount of wealth in the world. According to this mindset, if someone gets rich, it means less wealth is available for everyone else. This creates a mental environment of fear, competition, and limitation that makes wealth creation nearly impossible. Here's how scarcity thinking typically sounds. I think the rich get richer while the poor get poorer. There's not enough good opportunities to go around. I have to compete with others for success. If they succeed, it hurts my chances. Money is hard to come by. These beliefs seem logical on the surface, but they're actually complete illusions that will destroy your chances of building wealth. The truth is exactly the opposite of what scarcity thinking suggests. Wealth isn't a fixed pie with limited slices. It's more like a garden where every new plant that grows makes the soil richer for all the other plants. Consider this undeniable fact. The total wealth in the world has increased dramatically throughout human history. This wouldn't be possible if wealth were truly limited. Instead, what we see is that every person who creates genuine value adds to the total amount of wealth available to everyone. When Henry Ford created affordable automobiles, he didn't take money away from horse and buggy makers. He created entirely new wealth by solving transportation problems better than anyone before him. His wealth creation made countless other people wealthy too: suppliers, dealers, factory workers, and customers who could now travel farther and do more. Scarcity thinking doesn't just prevent you from getting rich, it actively pushes wealth away from you. It creates fear-based decisions. When you believe opportunities are scarce, you make decisions from fear rather than confidence. Fear-based decisions are almost always poor decisions that lead to poor results. It focuses your mind on limitations. Whatever you focus on expands in your experience. When you constantly think about scarcity, you notice and attract more scarcity. It prevents creative thinking. Scarcity thinking keeps you trapped in competitive mode, fighting for existing resources, instead of understanding the difference between competitive thinking and creative thinking is crucial for your success. Competitive thinking sees wealth as limited, focuses on getting what others have, creates win-lose situations, generates stress and anxiety, and leads to short-term gains at best. Creative thinking sees wealth as unlimited, focuses on bringing new value into existence, creates win-win situations, generates excitement and energy, and leads to lasting success. To break free from scarcity thinking, you need to fundamentally change how you view wealth and opportunity. Recognize infinite potential. The raw materials for creating wealth, human creativity, natural resources, and energy, are essentially unlimited. See others' success as proof. Instead of feeling threatened when others succeed, see their success as evidence that wealth creation is possible. Focus on value creation. Instead of asking, "How can I get more money?" ask, "How can I create more value?" When you focus on serving others better, money flows naturally as a result. Think collaboratively. Look for ways to work with others rather than against them. Most great fortunes are built through partnerships and collaborations, not solo competition. You cannot create lasting wealth while thinking from scarcity. It's like trying to grow a garden while constantly thinking about drought. Your expectations shape your reality more than you realize. When you truly shift to abundance thinking, everything changes. From this point on, you must be vigilant about your thinking patterns. Every time you catch yourself thinking in scarcity terms, immediately redirect your thoughts toward abundance and possibility. Remember, the universe is not running out of wealth, opportunities, or resources. There's more than enough for everyone to live abundantly. 4. The foundation of all riches. Everything you see around you, every building, invention, work of art, and business, began as an invisible thought in someone's mind. This isn't poetry. It's the most practical truth you'll ever learn about wealth creation. Understanding how thoughts become things is the foundation of all riches. Most people think randomly and wonder why their lives seem random. They bounce from worry to hope to fear to excitement without realizing that each thought is like a seed planted in very fertile soil. The thoughts you focus on most consistently become your reality with mathematical precision. This isn't positive thinking or wishful fantasy. It's recognizing that your mind is a creative instrument of enormous power. When you learn to use it deliberately and systematically, you can literally think your way to wealth. Here's how the creative process actually works. An idea forms in your mind. This idea might be for a business, an invention, an investment, or any other wealth-creating activity. Through repeated focus, the idea becomes clear and detailed. You begin to see exactly what you want and how it might work. The clear, focused thought begins attracting the resources, people, and circumstances needed to make it real. Through your actions combined with favorable circumstances, the idea becomes physical reality. This process happens whether you're conscious of it or not. The difference between rich and poor people is that rich people direct this process intentionally, while poor people let it happen randomly. Think of the universe as containing an invisible, intelligent substance that responds to human thought. This substance has unlimited potential. It can become anything. But it takes the form of whatever thoughts are impressed upon it most strongly and consistently. When you hold a clear image of what you want in your mind, you're impressing that image onto this creative substance. The substance then begins working to arrange circumstances so that your image can become reality. For your thoughts to become wealth, they must meet 3 specific requirements. First, clarity. You must know exactly what you want. Vague wishes produce vague results. The more precisely you can describe your desired outcome, the more powerfully the creative process works. Second, persistence. You must hold your thoughts consistently over time. Occasional positive thinking has little power, but focused, persistent thought becomes irresistibly powerful. Third, faith. You must believe that what you're thinking about can and will become real. Doubt neutralizes the creative power of thought. Most people violate these requirements without realizing it. They think about what they want sometimes, but they think about what they don't want most of the time. They change their minds constantly, instead of maintaining consistent focus. They hope for good things but expect bad things. They focus on current circumstances instead of desired outcomes. Everything in the universe is made from the same basic substance, what scientists call energy, and what we might call thinking substance. This substance is intelligent and creative. It's constantly forming itself into new shapes and expressions. The key insight is this substance responds to human thought. When you think with sufficient clarity, persistence, and faith, you literally cause this substance to arrange itself into the forms you're thinking about. This is why visualization is so powerful. When you create detailed mental images of what you want, you're providing blueprints that the creative forces of the universe can follow. Here's how to use this knowledge to create wealth. Create your clear vision. Develop a detailed mental picture of the wealth you want. Don't just think, I want to be rich. Instead, envision exactly how much money you want, what form it will take, what you'll do with it, and how it will feel to have it. Focus daily. Spend time each day concentrating on this mental image. See it as clearly as if it were already real. Feel the emotions you'll experience when you achieve it. Maintain faith. Believe completely that your vision is already on its way to you. Doubt is the only thing that can stop this process. Take inspired action. As you maintain your mental focus, you'll begin to notice opportunities and feel impulses to take certain actions. Follow these promptings. They're part of the creative process. This process works because it aligns you with the fundamental creative forces of the universe. Everything is constantly growing, expanding, and evolving. When you direct your mental energy toward creating something beneficial, you're working with these natural forces rather than against them. Some people misunderstand this process and think they can just sit and think their way to wealth without taking action. This doesn't work. The creative process requires both mental focus and physical action working together. Beginning today, spend at least 15 minutes each day focusing on your wealth vision. Make this mental image as clear and detailed as possible. See yourself having the money you want, living the lifestyle you want, and feeling the confidence and freedom that wealth provides. Do this consistently for at least 30 days, and you'll begin to notice remarkable changes in your circumstances and opportunities. This isn't magic. It's the natural result of aligning your mental energy with your goals. 5. The life force that drives abundance. At the heart of all creation lies a fundamental drive that few people understand, that everyone can harness. This drive is the force behind every plant that grows, every animal that thrives, and every human achievement. When you align yourself with this force, wealth creation becomes as natural as breathing. Look around you in nature. Every living thing is constantly striving for more size, more territory, more offspring, more life. A seed doesn't just try to survive. It tries to become the largest, healthiest plant possible. This isn't greed or selfishness. It's the fundamental nature of life itself. This same impulse exists within you. Your desire for wealth isn't a character flaw. It's the life force itself, seeking fuller expression through you. When you suppress this natural drive, you're fighting against your own nature. When you embrace and direct it properly, you become unstoppably powerful. Why poverty violates natural law becomes clear when you understand this principle. Poverty isn't natural or necessary. It's a violation of the basic law of existence, which is continuous growth and expansion. Every cell in your body is constantly working to maintain and improve your health. Your mind naturally seeks more knowledge and understanding. Your spirit yearns for greater expression and service. When you accept poverty or mediocrity, you're contradicting your fundamental nature. You're like a bird refusing to fly or a fish refusing to swim. The results are always frustration, unhappiness, and a sense that something important is missing from your life. Here's a perspective that will revolutionize how you think about wealth. The creative force of the universe is constantly seeking ways to express itself more fully. This force works through human beings to create, build, and improve the world. Your desire for wealth is actually this universal force stirring within you. It wants to express itself through your unique talents and perspective. It wants to use your hands to build, your mind to create, your voice to inspire, and your resources to serve. Not all desires for wealth are equally powerful or beneficial. Life-affirming motivations include wanting to live fully in body, mind, and spirit. This means having the resources to maintain gold service, excellent health, pursue intellectual growth, and express your spiritual nature through service to others. Life-limiting motivations include wanting to feel superior to others. When wealth becomes about status and ego rather than contribution and growth, it becomes spiritually empty and ultimately unsatisfying. The first set of motivations aligns you with the life force, and creates lasting success. The second set opposes the life force and ultimately leads to failure and unhappiness. One of the most important truths you must understand is that the universe operates on principles of abundance, not scarcity. The creative force that drives all existence has unlimited resources at its disposal. Consider the energy that powers our solar system. The sun produces more energy in 1 second than humanity has used in all of recorded history. Consider the creativity of nature. Millions of unique species, each with countless individuals, all thriving simultaneously without running out of resources or opportunities. This same abundance is available to you for creating wealth. There's no shortage of opportunities, resources, or possibilities. The only limitations are in your thinking and your willingness to act on what the life force is urging you to do. Success comes from aligning yourself with the natural flow of life, rather than fighting against it. This means embracing growth, instead of trying to maintain the status quo. It means seeking service, instead of just trying to get. It means choosing creation over competition. It means following your natural inclinations, instead of forcing yourself into paths that feel wrong. Your desires aren't random or meaningless. They're signals from the life force, showing you the direction for your expansion and growth. Every genuine desire contains within it the power for its own fulfillment. When you align yourself with the life force that drives all abundance, everything becomes easier. Instead of pushing against life, you're flowing with it. Instead of fighting for resources, you're creating them. Instead of competing with others, you're contributing to the expansion of wealth for everyone. Remember, the same force that grows the mighty oak from a tiny acorn is available to grow your wealth from whatever resources you currently have. Your job is simply to align with this force and let it work through you. 6. How wealth flows to you. Understanding how wealth actually moves from potential to reality will transform how you approach money forever. Wealth doesn't just appear out of thin air, nor does it come through luck or accident. It follows specific patterns and pathways that you can learn to recognize and utilize. Wealth reaches you through 3 primary channels. The first channel is direct creation. This is wealth you create through your own efforts, businesses, investments, or innovations. The second channel is attraction and opportunity. This is wealth that comes to you through circumstances that seem favorable or coincidental. The third channel is multiplication and growth. This is the wealth that comes from your existing assets growing in value. Most financially successful people utilize all 3 channels simultaneously, rather than depending on just one. Before wealth can flow to you physically, you must prepare mentally to receive it. This isn't just positive thinking, it's practical preparation that makes you ready to recognize and act on opportunities when they appear. Mental preparation includes developing clarity about what you want. You must have a specific, detailed vision of the wealth you're seeking. You need belief in your worthiness. You must genuinely believe you deserve abundance and are capable of handling it responsibly. You need knowledge of value exchange. You must understand that wealth comes through providing value to others, not through taking or getting something for nothing. Opportunities don't come to everyone equally. They're attracted to people who are prepared to recognize them and act on them quickly. This preparation happens on multiple levels. Intellectually, you need to understand how wealth is created in your chosen field. Emotionally, you need to be ready to take calculated risks. Practically, you need to have systems in place to evaluate and act on opportunities quickly. The universe has a remarkable way of testing your readiness for wealth by presenting you with smaller opportunities first. How you handle these smaller opportunities determines whether larger ones will find. If you're faithful with little, you'll be entrusted with much. There's a magnetic quality to wealth that most people don't understand. Money flows toward people who understand how to use it effectively, and you have a clear vision for what they want to accomplish. When you develop a reputation for creating value and achieving results, opportunities begin seeking you out, rather than you having to seek them out. Understanding the flow of wealth also requires recognizing that money is always in motion. It's not a static resource that sits in one place. It's constantly flowing from one person to another, one investment to another, one opportunity to another. Your job is to position yourself in this flow so that money moves through you rather than around you. The most successful people understand that wealth flows to those who can be trusted with it. This trust isn't just about honesty, although that's essential. It's about competence, reliability, and wisdom. People with money want to know that their investment in you will produce positive results. Remember that wealth flows naturally to those who understand these principles and apply them consistently. You don't have to force it. The first excitement you find is the creator of rocks. When you align yourself with the natural patterns of wealth creation, money flows to you as naturally as water flows downhill. 7. The power of deep appreciation. One of the most overlooked yet powerful factors in wealth creation is the development of a deep, genuine appreciation for what you already have and what you're working to create. This isn't just about being polite or practicing good manners. It's about understanding and utilizing one of the most fundamental forces in the universe. Appreciation is much more than a pleasant emotion. It's a dynamic force that literally changes your relationship with reality. When you appreciate something deeply and genuinely, you come into harmony with the creative forces that brought it into existence. This harmony opens channels for more of what you appreciate to flow into your life. Think of appreciation as a form of mental and emotional magnetism. Just as a magnet attracts metal objects, genuine appreciation attracts more of whatever you're appreciating. This isn't wishful thinking or superstition. It's a practical principle that you can observe and test in your own life. The power of appreciation works on multiple levels simultaneously. Psychologically, appreciation changes your mental state from one of lack and limitation to one of abundance and possibility. When you're in a state of appreciation, you're more creative, more optimistic, and more likely to see solutions rather than problems. Physically, appreciation affects your body in measurable ways. Scientific research has shown that gratitude and appreciation improve immune function, reduce stress hormones, and increase energy levels. When you feel better physically, you perform better in all areas of life, including wealth creation. Most people practice appreciation backwards, if they practice it at all. They think they'll be grateful when they get what they want. This approach completely misses the point and actually prevents the very success they're hoping for. The truth is exactly the opposite. You must appreciate first, and then the things you appreciate will increase in your life. Appreciation is the cause, not the effect, of positive circumstances. Start by appreciating the money you already have, no matter how little it might be. Instead of focusing on how much you lack, focus on the fact that you have something. Appreciate the financial opportunities that are available to you, even if you haven't acted on them yet. Appreciate successful people rather than resenting them or feeling envious. The practice of appreciation must become a daily habit, not just an occasional activity. Set aside time each day to consciously appreciate various aspects of your financial life and your wealth-building journey. True appreciation goes beyond just thinking positive thoughts. It involves genuine emotion and feeling. When you appreciate something, you should actually feel grateful, not just think grateful thoughts. This emotional component is what gives appreciation its power to create change in your life. The law of appreciation states that what you appreciate appreciates. This isn't just a play on words, it's a fundamental principle of how the universe works. When you genuinely appreciate something, it tends to increase in your life. When you fail to appreciate something, it tends to decrease or disappear. Understanding this principle helps explain why some people seem to attract good fortune, while others seem to attract problems. It's not random or unfair, it's the result of their habitual mental and emotional patterns. Appreciation also has a powerful effect on your relationships with other people, which is crucial for wealth creation, since most wealth is created through relationships and cooperation with others. When you genuinely appreciate people, they feel it and respond positively. Remember that appreciation must be genuine to be effective. You can't fake gratitude and expect it to work. The universe, and the people around you, can sense the difference between genuine appreciation and empty words. When you make appreciation a central part of your approach to wealth creation, you'll find that opportunities flow to you more easily. People are more willing to help you, and you maintain a positive mental state that supports your success. 8. Training your mind for success. Your mind is the most powerful wealth creation tool you possess. But like any tool, it must be properly trained and directed to produce the results you want. Most people allow their minds to wander aimlessly, thinking whatever thoughts happen to arise, reacting to circumstances rather than creating them. Successful wealth creation requires a trained mind, one that thinks deliberately and focuses consistently on your desired outcomes. This mental training isn't complicated, but it does require discipline and practice. The first step in training your mind for wealth creation is learning to create clear, detailed mental images of what you want to achieve. This goes far beyond just thinking, "I want to be rich." You need to develop specific, vivid pictures of your desired financial situation that are so clear you could describe them to someone else in detail. Start by determining exactly how much wealth you want to create and by when. Instead of vague goals like, someday I'll be financially secure, set specific targets, like, I will have a net worth of $1 million by December 31st, 5 years from now. Make this mental image as vivid and detailed as possible. See the colors, hear the sounds, feel the textures, imagine the emotions you'll experience. The more real you can make this image in your mind, the more powerfully it will work to attract the circumstances needed to make it reality. This process of mental imagery isn't just daydreaming or wishful thinking. It's a systematic approach to programming your subconscious mind for success. Your subconscious mind is incredibly powerful, but it can't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. The second crucial element of mental training is learning to maintain unwavering faith in your ability to achieve your goals. This faith isn't blind optimism or wishful thinking. It's a deep conviction based on understanding the principles of wealth creation and your own capacity to apply them. Faith is the mental attitude that allows you to persist in the face of temporary setbacks and apparent obstacles. Without faith, you'll give up the first time things don't go according to plan. With strong faith, you'll persist until you achieve your goals. Building faith requires consistent mental practice. Every day, you need to remind yourself that wealth creation is possible for you, that the principles work when applied correctly, and that your success is inevitable if you persist. The third element of mental training is learning to maintain your focus despite external circumstances. This is perhaps the most challenging aspect of mental discipline, because your environment will constantly present you with reasons to doubt, worry, or change direction. This requires developing mental toughness, the ability to keep your mind fixed on your goals regardless of external circumstances. Mental toughness isn't about ignoring reality. It's about maintaining faith in eventual success while dealing practically with current challenges. Develop the habit of daily mental practice, just as athletes practice their physical skills daily. Set aside time each day for focused visualization, affirmation of your goals, and strengthening of your faith. Learn to monitor and control your mental diet, the information and ideas you allow into your mind on a daily basis. Just as you carefully choose the food you eat to maintain physical health, you must carefully choose the mental food you consume to maintain psychological health and focus. Remember that training your mind for success is an ongoing process, not a one-time activity. Just as physical fitness requires consistent exercise, mental fitness requires consistent practice. Make mental training a permanent part of your daily routine. 9. Directing your inner power. Within you lies a tremendous force that, when properly directed, can move mountains and create miracles. This force is your will, your power of choice and decision. Most people use this power haphazardly, if at all, scattering their energy in multiple directions and accomplishing little. Your will is not meant to be used to control other people or to force external circumstances to bend to your wishes. Such attempts are not only unethical, but also ineffective and exhausting. True power lies in using your will to control yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. The proper use of will in wealth creation is internal, not external. You use your will to maintain clear thinking when circumstances are confusing. You use it to persist in positive action when you feel discouraged. You use it to stay focused on your goals when distractions arise. You use it to maintain faith when evidence seems to contradict your vision. Understanding the difference between willpower and will is crucial. Willpower is the attempt to force things to happen through sheer effort and determination. It's exhausting and ultimately self-defeating because it works against natural forces rather than with them. Will, properly understood, is the power to choose your thoughts and actions in alignment with natural laws and principles. The first and most important use of your will is to control your attention. Your attention is your most precious resource, because whatever you pay attention to consistently becomes your reality. Most people allow their attention to be captured by whatever is loudest, most urgent, or most emotionally charged in their environment. Practice taking control of your attention right now. Instead of letting your mind wander to whatever thoughts happen to arise, deliberately choose what to think about. Focus your attention on your wealth-building goals, on opportunities available to you, or on successful people you admire. The second crucial use of your will is to maintain positive mental attitudes despite negative external circumstances. When facing difficulties, use your will to focus on solutions rather than problems. on possibilities. The second crucial use of your will is to maintain positive mental attitudes despite negative external circumstances. When facing difficulties, use your will to focus on solutions rather than problems, on possibilities rather than limitations, on what you can do rather than what you can't do. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending problems don't exist. It means choosing to approach challenges from a position of strength rather than weakness, from faith rather than fear, from creativity rather than defensiveness. The third essential use of your will is to take consistent action toward your goals, even when you don't feel like it. Emotions are unreliable guides for action. Some days you'll feel motivated and enthusiastic. Other days you'll feel discouraged or apathetic. Your will allows you to act based on your commitment to your goals, rather than on a temporary emotional state. Develop the habit of daily action toward your wealth-building goals, regardless of how you feel. This consistent action, guided by clear thinking and sustained by strong will, creates momentum that eventually becomes unstoppable. Remember that your will grows stronger with use, just like a muscle. Every time you choose to think positive thoughts when negative ones arise, every time you take constructive action when you feel like giving up, every time you focus on your goals when distractions beckon, you're strengthening your will. The ultimate purpose of developing your will is not to become rigid or controlling, but to become free. When you can direct your thoughts, emotions, and actions consciously, rather than being at the mercy of circumstances, you become truly free to create the life you want. 10. The art of receiving. One of the most overlooked aspects of wealth creation is learning how to receive gracefully and effectively. Many people who master the art of giving and creating value struggle with the complementary skill of receiving what comes to them. Resistance to receiving often stems from deep-seated beliefs about unworthiness, guilt about having more than others, or fear of obligation. These psychological barriers can block the flow of wealth, even when you're doing everything else correctly. True receiving is an active skill, not passive acceptance. It requires awareness, gratitude, and the wisdom to recognize opportunities when they present themselves. Many people miss wealth-building opportunities because they're not mentally prepared to receive them. Learning to receive begins with developing a sense of worthiness. You must genuinely believe that you deserve abundance, and that accepting wealth allows you to contribute more to the world. This isn't arrogance, it's recognizing your value and potential for service. Practice receiving in small ways to develop this skill. When someone offers you a compliment, receive it gracefully, rather than deflecting it. When opportunities arise, evaluate them openly rather than immediately assuming they're too good to be true. When money comes to you through your efforts, appreciate it fully, rather than minimizing your achievement. Receiving also requires discernment. Not every opportunity that presents itself is aligned with your goals or values. Part of the art of receiving is knowing what to accept and what to decline. This discrimination comes from having clear values and a well-defined vision of what you're trying to create. The universe tests your readiness to receive wealth by offering smaller opportunities first. How you handle these tests determines whether larger opportunities will follow. Demonstrate responsibility, gratitude, and wisdom with small amounts, and you'll be trusted with larger amounts. Remember that receiving wealth creates responsibility. Money is a tool that can be used for great good or great harm. When you receive wealth, you're accepting stewardship of a powerful resource. This responsibility is part of what makes receiving a serious skill to develop. 11. Building wealth through service. The most sustainable and fulfilling approach to wealth creation is through service to others. When you focus on solving problems, meeting needs, and creating value for other people, money flows to you naturally as a result of the value you provide. This principle works because wealth is essentially crystallized value. Money is simply a medium of exchange that represents value created and transferred. When you create genuine value for others, you deserve to receive value in return, typically in the form of money. The key is to focus on the service first and the money second. When you reverse this order and focus primarily on getting money, you often provide inferior service, which ultimately limits your financial success. But when you focus on providing excellent service, money flows naturally as a consequence. Finding your unique avenue of service requires understanding three key elements: your natural talents and abilities, your genuine interests and passions, and the needs of the marketplace. The intersection of these three elements is where you'll find your most profitable and fulfilling path to wealth. Your natural talents are the abilities that come easily to you, that you can develop to high levels of skill without excessive struggle. Your genuine interests are the activities and subjects that energize you rather than drain you. Market needs are the problems that people are willing to pay to have solved. Success comes from developing your talents in areas that genuinely interest you and applying them to meet real market needs. This alignment ensures that you can sustain your efforts over time while providing value that people actually want. The service approach to wealth creation is also more ethical and sustainable than approaches based on manipulation, exploitation, or zero-sum competition. When you genuinely serve others, everyone benefits. You receive financial compensation, your customers receive valuable solutions, and society benefits from the problems you solve. Remember that the amount of wealth you can create through service is limited only by the number of people you can serve and the value you can provide to each one. As you develop your abilities and expand your reach, your capacity for wealth creation grows correspondingly. 12. The power of persistent action. Understanding principles is only the beginning of wealth creation. Knowledge without action produces no results, but action without persistence produces only temporary results. The combination of correct action, taken persistently, over time, creates lasting wealth. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a day and underestimate what they can accomplish in a year. They expect immediate results and give up when success doesn't come quickly. But wealth creation is a process that unfolds over time through the compound effect of consistent actions. Persistence doesn't mean blindly repeating ineffective actions. It means maintaining consistent effort toward your goals while adapting your methods based on results and feedback. This requires both determination and flexibility. The challenge of persistence is that results often lag behind efforts. You may work diligently for weeks or months before seeing significant progress. This delay between cause and effect tests your faith and commitment. Those who persist through this testing period eventually break through to success. Develop systems and habits that support persistent action. Don't rely on motivation alone, because motivation is unreliable. Instead, create routines and structures that make wealth-building actions automatic parts of your daily life. Track your progress regularly, but measure it over appropriate time periods. Daily fluctuations in results are normal and not meaningful. Weekly and monthly trends are more significant indicators of your progress. Celebrate small victories along the way to maintain your motivation and momentum. Recognition of progress, even small progress, helps sustain the emotional energy needed for long-term persistence. Remember that every successful person has faced periods of discouragement and apparent failure. What separates the successful from the unsuccessful is the willingness to persist through these challenging periods. Your breakthrough may come just one day after you feel like giving up. 13. Transforming obstacles into opportunities. In your journey toward wealth, you will inevitably encounter obstacles, setbacks, and apparent failures. How you respond to these challenges determines whether they become stepping stones or stumbling blocks on your path to success. Every obstacle contains within it the seed of an equivalent or greater opportunity. This isn't just positive thinking, it's a practical truth that you can learn to recognize and utilize. Problems often point toward unmet needs in the marketplace, which represent potential sources of wealth. The key to transforming obstacles into opportunities is to ask better questions when difficulties arise. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "How can I use this?" Instead of asking, "What's wrong?" ask, "What can I learn?" Instead of asking, "How can I avoid this?" ask, "How can I grow from this?" Obstacles test your commitment to your goals and your mastery of wealth-building principles. They force you to become more creative, more resourceful, and more determined. These qualities, developed through overcoming challenges, become permanent assets that serve you throughout your wealth-building journey. Many of the world's greatest fortunes were built by people who solved problems that others saw as insurmountable obstacles. When you develop the ability to see solutions where others see only problems, you position yourself to create tremendous value and wealth. Temporary failure is often a necessary part of the learning process. Each failure teaches you something important about what doesn't work, bringing you closer to discovering what does work. The key is to fail fast, learn quickly, and apply those lessons to your next attempt. Develop resilience by maintaining a long-term perspective. Most obstacles that seem overwhelming in the moment become minor footnotes when viewed from the vantage point of ultimate success. Keep your eyes on your long-term vision while dealing practically with short-term challenges. Remember that obstacles are temporary, while the principles of wealth creation are permanent. When you align yourself with these principles and persist in applying them, you will eventually overcome any obstacle and achieve your goals. 14. Creating multiple streams of income. One of the most effective strategies for building substantial wealth is developing multiple sources of income, rather than depending on a single source. This approach provides both security and acceleration in your wealth-building journey. Multiple income streams protect you from economic uncertainties and provide backup if one source is temporarily disrupted. They also allow you to leverage your time and abilities more effectively by creating income from various activities and investments. The key to building multiple income streams successfully is to focus on creating value in different ways rather than simply pursuing money from various sources. Each income stream should be based on genuine value creation and should align with your overall wealth-building strategy. Start by maximizing your primary income source while gradually developing secondary streams. Don't abandon what's working in pursuit of something unproven. Build from strength and expand systematically. Consider these categories of income streams: earned income from employment or business activities, investment income from stocks, bonds, or real estate, passive income from royalties, licensing, or business ownership, and portfolio income from trading or speculation. The goal is to gradually shift from dependence on earned income, which requires your active participation, toward passive and investment income, which can generate wealth while you sleep. This transition provides both financial security and personal freedom. Each income stream you develop teaches you new skills and opens new opportunities. The knowledge and connections you gain from one venture often lead to ideas for additional income sources. Be patient with this process. Building multiple income streams takes time, and some streams may start very small before growing into significant sources of wealth. Focus on consistency and gradual growth rather than expecting immediate large returns. 15. The compound effect of wealth building. Understanding the compound effect is crucial for building substantial wealth over time. Small, consistent actions and investments, when compounded over years, create results that seem almost magical to those who don't understand this principle. Compound growth applies not only to money invested at interest, but to all aspects of wealth building. Your knowledge compounds as each new thing you learn builds on previous learning. Your skills compound as practice makes you progressively more capable. Your network compounds as each new relationship potentially leads to additional relationships. The early stages of compound growth can be discouraging because progress seems slow. A small amount of money invested at compound interest doesn't grow dramatically in the first few years, but patience during this period is rewarded with accelerating growth in later years. This is why starting early is so important in wealth building. Time is your greatest ally when working with compound growth. Someone who starts investing at age 25 will have dramatically more wealth at retirement than someone who starts at age 35, even if the later starter invests more money per year. The compound effect also works with habits and behaviors. Small positive actions, repeated consistently over time, create major improvements in your life and finances. Small negative actions, repeated consistently, create major problems. Choose your daily habits carefully, because they compound powerfully over time. Understanding compound growth helps you make better decisions about short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. When you truly understand how powerfully your current actions will compound over time, you become more willing to delay gratification and invest in your future. Use the compound effect consciously in all areas of your wealth building. Consistently reinvest your profits rather than spending them all. Continuously improve your skills rather than becoming complacent. Steadily expand your network rather than relying on current connections. Regularly increase your knowledge rather than thinking you know enough. 16. Developing wealth consciousness. True wealth begins in consciousness before it manifests in your bank account. Developing wealth consciousness means thinking, feeling, and acting like a wealthy person long before you actually have significant money. This mental shift is essential for attracting and maintaining wealth. Wealth consciousness is different from pretending to be wealthy or living beyond your means. It's about adopting the mental attitudes, values, and behaviors that naturally lead to wealth creation. It's about seeing yourself as a wealth creator rather than someone trying to get money. People with wealth consciousness think in terms of assets and investments rather than just income and expenses. They ask, how can I make my money work for me? Rather than, how can I work harder for money? They focus on creating value rather than just earning money. Wealthy thinking involves taking calculated risks rather than either avoiding all risks or gambling recklessly. It means investing in your education and development rather than only spending on consumption. It means surrounding yourself with successful, growth-minded people rather than settling for mediocrity. Develop wealth consciousness by studying wealthy people and how they think. Read their biographies, listen to their interviews, and observe their decision-making patterns. Notice how differently they approach problems and opportunities compared to people with poverty consciousness. Practice thinking and acting from abundance rather than scarcity. Make decisions based on what wealthy people would do in your situation. Gradually upgrade your standards and expectations while maintaining practical wisdom about your current circumstances. Wealth consciousness also includes understanding money's true role as a tool for creating value and serving others. When you see money this way, rather than as an end in itself, you develop a healthier and more attractive relationship with wealth. Remember that consciousness creates reality. As you develop genuine wealth consciousness, you'll naturally attract opportunities, relationships, and circumstances that support wealth creation. Your external world gradually aligns with your internal world. 17. Building your wealth building team. No one builds significant wealth entirely alone. Behind every successful person is a team of advisors, partners, mentors, and supporters who contribute to their success. Building the right team is crucial for accelerating your wealth creation and avoiding costly mistakes. Your wealth building team should include people who complement your strengths and compensate for your weaknesses. If you're great with ideas but poor with details, find detail-oriented people to help implement your visions. If you're strong analytically but weak in sales, partner with people who excel at building relationships and closing deals. Key team members might include mentors who have achieved what you want to achieve, professional advisors like accountants, lawyers, and financial planners, business partners who bring complementary skills and resources, and coaches or consultants who help you develop specific capabilities. Choose team members carefully, based on their character, competence, and alignment with your values and goals. Competence without character leads to problems. Character without competence leads to good intentions but poor results. Both are necessary for effective partnerships. Build relationships before you need them. Don't wait until you desperately need help to start developing your professional network. Invest time in building genuine relationships with people who might become team members in the future. Be willing to compensate your team members fairly for their contributions. The most successful people understand that paying for good advice and help is an investment, not an expense. The right team members will more than pay for themselves through the value they provide. Learn to delegate effectively as your wealth and business interests grow. Many people sabotage their success by trying to do everything themselves rather than leveraging the skills and time of others. Delegation frees you to focus on the highest value activities while building others' capabilities. Remember that team building is an ongoing process. As you grow and your goals evolve, your team needs will change. Continuously evaluate and adjust your team to ensure it supports your current objectives and future aspirations. 18. Maintaining wealth and avoiding pitfalls. Creating wealth is only half the challenge. Maintaining and growing it requires different skills and awareness. Many people who successfully build wealth lose it through poor management, bad decisions, or failure to adapt to changing circumstances. The first principle of wealth maintenance is living below your means regardless of your income level. This doesn't mean living poorly, but it means spending less than you earn and investing the difference. Lifestyle inflation, where expenses automatically rise with income, prevents wealth accumulation even among high earners. Diversification is crucial for protecting wealth from various risks. Don't put all your wealth in one investment, one business, or one type of asset. Spread your wealth across different investments, industries, and even geographical regions to protect against various types of losses. Stay educated about money management and investment principles. The financial world constantly evolves, and strategies that worked in the past may not work in the future. Continuous learning helps you adapt your wealth management strategies to changing conditions. Avoid get-rich-quick schemes and investment fads. These are often designed to transfer wealth from impatient people to patient people. Stick with proven principles and be skeptical of anything that promises unusually high returns with little risk. Protect your wealth through appropriate insurance, legal structures, and estate planning. Don't wait until you have enough wealth to worry about protection. Start building protective measures early and expand them as your wealth grows. Be cautious about lifestyle choices that consume wealth without creating value. Expensive cars, oversized houses, and luxury items may provide temporary pleasure, but often prevent long-term wealth building. Focus spending on things that truly enhance your life or contribute to your wealth-building capacity. Plan for wealth transfer to future generations if that's important to you. Teach your children about money management and wealth creation so they can maintain and grow the wealth you've built, rather than squandering it. Conclusion: your wealth-building journey. You now possess the fundamental principles that govern wealth creation. These principles are not theories or speculations. They are laws as reliable as the laws of physics. When applied correctly and consistently, they produce wealth as surely as planting seeds in fertile soil produces crops. The journey from where you are now to where you want to be financially is not always easy, but it is always possible when you follow these principles. Every person who has built lasting wealth has done so by applying these same fundamental concepts, whether they realized it or not. Your success depends not on your current circumstances, your background, or your past mistakes. It depends on your willingness to think and act differently, starting today. Wealth creation begins the moment you decide to align your thoughts and actions with the principles you've learned. Start immediately, but start small. Don't wait for perfect conditions or complete knowledge. Begin applying these principles with whatever resources you currently have. Each step will reveal the next step in your journey. Be patient with the process, but urgent with implementation. Wealth building takes time, but time is passing anyway. The sooner you begin, the sooner you'll reach your goals. Don't let another year pass without making significant progress toward your financial objectives. Remember that wealth creation is not just about money. It's about becoming the person capable of creating and maintaining wealth. The principles you've learned will transform not only your bank account, but your entire approach to life. You'll become more creative, more confident, more generous, and more capable in all areas. Share these principles with others as you apply them in your own life. Wealth consciousness spreads from person to person, creating prosperity for entire communities. Your success can inspire and enable others to achieve their own financial goals. The science of getting rich is now yours to apply. Your wealth-building journey begins with your very next thought and action. Choose them wisely, act consistently, and prepare to be amazed by what you can accomplish. The universe is waiting to respond to your wealth-creating thoughts and actions. The question is not whether these principles work, they do. The question is whether you will work them. Your financial future is in your hands.